YouTube. How are you? I'm good. Thanks for asking. Welcome to A Filthy Talk. Like, subscribe, ring the bell if you're new. If not, and you've already done that, then thanks for supporting the channel, and welcome back. So yeah, every Friday, we do Filthy Talk. It is our weekly panel discussion show. I can't mouth. I'm not going to blame the mask. This is a me problem. Yeah, so you get to know a little bit with what's going on with the Filthy Lot, and we just talk about whatever we want to talk about. What's in the news, or just nerdy shit, mostly. I'm Trevor Gemma. I'm your host. With me, I'm going to go down the line. So we've got Alain Williams on my right.
Hello.
Nicholas Kedrock. Roz Young. And the return of Ryan Whyte. So before we get into what we're going to be talking about, which today is going to be Cyberpunk, what are you drinking, Roz?
Oh gosh, today I am enjoying a delightful Strangefellows Nocturnum. Ooh.
Nocturnum?
Nocturnum, I know. Look at Strangefellows art on their cans. Oh, on their bottles, so good. It's described as hoppy, malty, robust. And I would say it is all of those. I think it's probably too hoppy for a Trevor.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. That does not look like a hoppy beer.
This one is a trap. This is a trap for Trevor.
Yeah.
You put this out, he thinks it's a stout.
Yeah.
It's not.
That's a trick. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nocturnum.
It's really good. But I would say the hoppiness is quite mild if you're into super hoppy things. But it is a dark IPA.
I don't mind. It depends on, like, it can be balanced well. I like dry hop stuff. It's like, if you get the floral on the, anyway, what are you drinking, Kenny?
I'm drinking high quality H2O.
Ooh.
I had a very, very delicious mango sour, but I had it way too soon. So I kept on having them. I was like, oh, I have to drive home later. So I cut myself off, and now it's quality H2O from our taps, which I understand is a little bit chlorinated, but chlorinated? No, it has something in it.
Oh, it's like
Is it chlorine?
taps here? There's a water cooler.
Oh no, Annette got me this actually. She probably used the right thing. I drink the tap water.
Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
They keep saying that, but nothing happens.
I mean, but you keep doing it.
I'm
so
drinking it
clearly
by the
something's
gallon.
happening.
Are you expecting like an alien to burst out? Because it's more gradual. It's like, oh,
You know what
I'm really
I just
tired
found out?
lately.
I don't want to take up a lot of time, but I just found out right up the street, not right up the street, like 20 minutes from here, there's a hiking trail. And on the hiking trail, there's a opening in the rock where fresh water comes out, and people like literally line up with like.
It's the best water I've ever tasted.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of people lining up with their big jugs and all that. It's like, what are you guys doing? It's like, oh, they're taking water from the rock because apparently it's like crisp, filtered, good rock water.
Have you tried it?
Only a little bit of bacteria, maybe.
Yeah, there's a sign that says boil it, but then someone in line said that they're like, I've been drinking this like only this for like 10 years, never boiled it, nothing's ever happened.
I've only gotten dysentery
I'm the weirdo
once.
out here getting water out of the rocks, but it's 100% fine.
Yeah, that's where you want to get your drinking water advice from.
But it's like a Vancouver thing, like you know about.
I honestly, I drank that water for a couple of years when I had a hippie roommate back in the day. It is the best water.
Oh.
Like,
Yeah.
hands down, the best.
It's like a Vancouver thing. People like line up for this water.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's on the way out
I would
to
love to
Canada
find out
Park.
that it was like runoff from a sewage treatment plant or something. That'd be amazing. We should look into that. What about you, Alain? What are you drinking?
I am drinking water from a rock as well. This is what happens when it sits in the sun for too long.
Wait, from a rock or from a rock?
From his rock. No, I am
The Kedrock.
drinking the
Kedrock.
Tin Can Amber Ale, brewed locally here by Deep Cove
Oh.
Brewing. I think I say this like every time I'm on. I don't know the terms to describe a taste for beer. I just
Compare it to food.
drink it and say it's good.
What's the mouth feel like?
Let that mouth do though. Let's find out.
Yeah, like, do you like the taste?
Yes.
Yeah?
It makes me tongue pop.
Tongue
Oh,
pop.
And that's enough.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so I'm drinking, Bev got me, also from Deep Cove, the Mole Stout.
Oh.
And I am excited to try this, because,
That sounds good.
no, what?
Mole on the surface should be it's like 150 flavors cooked for 29 days and this and that and the other. But then every mole I've ever had, it's like, oh, this is like gross chocolate.
It's just chocolate
It
and
doesn't
chilies,
have to be
essentially.
chocolate to be mole.
Everyone I've had has had that chocolate sense, but that's not like a staple of mole. It's a
I don't think it. I don't.
I think
Is
it.
Matt in the chat? Because Matt will have
Yeah,
opinions.
check or Maria.
Or well, yeah.
If we check mole,
know what it really
I
is.
think
She won't
mole
just be
needs
like
chilies
opinions.
and chocolate.
It's
It
gross.
doesn't have to have chocolate. I think it just means like sauce.
Oh, okay.
I also
think-
don't like mint
You know what?
chocolate.
I might be
Chocolate-
full of crap.
Chocolate shouldn't be mixed with.
Okay, this
things that are-
smells amazing. Doesn't smell like beer. It smells like food.
Yeah, so mole sauce by definition does not have to have chocolate or cocoa in it.
No.
There are a variety of different colors of mole. Generally, mole sauce contains a fruit, chili pepper, nut, and such spices as black pepper, cinnamon, or cumin.
This is delicious. This is a very, very fantastic beer. It doesn't really taste like a stout or any stout that I've ever had. It tastes kind of like a winter ale without the caramel or vanilla notes. Like it's a spiced. This
I
is
hope
really
there's
good.
more of those.
This is delicious.
Bev?
Are there more of these?
Yeah, you did a big win.
Yeah, it's really good. It's a light tasting stout. Like it doesn't feel heavy like other. Anyway, it's really good.
It
I'll
looks
drink more of
good,
this.
and you seem to be having a good time.
It's
so
real
I'm
good.
Yeah, it's dope.
What are you drinking, Ryan?
White Claw.
White Claw. Ye old standard.
I'm sorry.
I feel like someday we're going to have someone do an actual good, I have White Claw, instead of it just being this resignation.
I think Ash is like, really excited about the White Claw.
Yeah, Ash shows no shame.
Yeah.
Nor should anyone. Drink
it's
what you
not
like.
Shame. It's just, it's like La Croix. It's like, it's something that like no, it aspires to be other beverages, but hasn't quite gotten there.
Oh.
So.
But wasn't Snapple's motto for a while like, can we be your third choice? You know?
Yeah, that's what White
I love.
Yeah.
I love on-point branding like that.
Yeah.
You know, like
I heard-
brands that know what they are.
I don't remember if I looked into it and found out that it was true, but I remember hearing that like Snapple was owned by white supremacists. Specifically, I think they said the.
Oh God, is it? I love Snapple. Please tell me that's not the case.
No. It was probably some bullshit
Wait,
rumor.
Ryan can look this up for
But
us.
like,
please.
it was enough for me to hear it to go like.
allegedly owned by
They're
white
the
supremacists.
only.
Allegedly.
They're the only big brand.
Snapple's not watching, it's okay.
Snapple is owned by Keurig Dr. Pepper. So
Oh.
apparently the company that makes K-Cups and Dr. Pepper merged, and now we're a new company.
Oh, I wonder where the K comes from.
They're the
Subject,
only.
can I-
They're the only large brand that has a banana flavored drink.
Gross.
Oh.
And it is kind of gross, but I'll give them props just because no other brands no one wants to touch bananas because you
So
can't really
you
juice a
don't
banana.
you don't care that it's good. You just want them to do it.
Just rep banana. If you rep banana, I got you. That's really it.
Well, I used to drink a ton of it and this was like pre-internet. I was young, and then
Snapple Sacks is that the right brand?
and
Yeah,
then
they do
someone
Sacks.
told me that it was like that was the thing, and I was like, oh, I'm done with Snapple.
People be spitting.
Yeah, back when you
just
couldn't-
wild,
made up,
wild shit
It
like
was
that
just some
all the
bullshit.
time.
But that was the thing that I heard, and I was just like, well, I'm not drinking anymore. I haven't had
Yeah.
Snapple since.
Yeah, but you gotta check. And then if you find that dude and go back, it's like, hey, who told you that? You're like, I don't know.
Especially if this was pre-internet.
Some
Where
guy-
could he have
I don't
gotten
trust
that
any
information?
pre-internet shit.
It was
anyone
some
told
guy I
me.
was standing next to while I was getting
Exactly.
water out of this rock. He's like, oh, don't drink
He's
Snapple.
like, hey, by the way, Snapple's owned by what? Okay,
Google that rock and make sure.
so we're going off here. But let's get to what we're all excited to talk about, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're going to be talking about Cyberpunk today. And some of you might be like, Cyberpunk, I think I know what that is. Is it this?
I do want to go here. Those guys are having so much fun.
Right?
Care who's looking.
Goth.
I want to be probably the girl in the purple.
So,
Yeah.
Damn.
that's not Cyberpunk.
Let's
That's
go in the hardest.
Oh, I think that might be the quintessential.
no,
Cyberpunk.
that's Cyber Goth.
Oh,
That's
got
Cyber
it,
Goth.
got it.
There's a
Oh.
clear distinction here. So Cyberpunk is it's futuristic. It's like a subgenre of sci-fi, It has to be involving high tech and low life. And where I kind of draw a line, and this isn't technically, high tech, low life.
Is that like are you saying there? That's
Yeah.
an official?
That's a defining characteristic, and it
Definition.
also has to involve like some sort of breaking down of society, so that like it's dystopian essentially.
Dystopian futures.
Yeah,
So,
dystopian
you know,
future.
into the future, but things are kind of falling apart, and usually there's evil corporations.
Yeah.
This is like, you know,
Extreme
the people
class struggle.
as a reaction against the corporate bullshit.
But everyone has access to like advanced technology.
I will say that when you asked me to come on this, you said Cyberpunk, and I thought Cyberpunk, Steampunk. Oh yeah, I want to come on because I love that. And then I realized that, oh wait, Cyberpunk and Steampunk are vastly different things. So actually, talking to Alain is where I realized that I actually do like a lot of Cyberpunk things. I just didn't know. That they were Cyberpunk.
That's one of the reasons
so
I
Trevor
went to
was
you.
like, Cyberpunk, and he said, 100% yes, but your brain was just like airships.
It just yeah, 100. I was like, oh, I can talk about gears and steam all day. Give me some leather and shit.
I'm disappointed that you
Pains, or is it a soul?
I'm so sad that you didn't show up dressed steampunk.
Oh, that would have been amazing!
Oh, man.
You were gonna say something?
I was
Ryan?
going to say, to me at least, one of the other sort of definitive characteristics of Cyberpunk is some sort of persistent online metaverse. You know, whether it's the Matrix in the Matrix, or, you know, what did they call it in Snow Crash? You know, there's always like some, you know, reality grade VR universe that everyone like hangs out in
Yeah.
when they're having downtime or
Yep.
Steven Spielberg's most recent one, the Ready Player One. Is that
Yes.
Cyberpunk?
Yes, that would be
Ready
Cyberpunk.
Player
Okay.
One is
So,
Cyberpunk.
And because they're science fiction, like a personal
Argue
distinction.
today, friends.
What?
I said, we're going to argue today.
Oh yes, we are.
Oh, yeah.
But like something I draw the line and say that's no longer really cyberpunk. It kind of gets into sci-fi. Is once you start getting into space travel, because like cyberpunk seems to be very rooted and grounded on Earth.
I think,
Okay, so
I think also if
future
it's not-
scenes.
Yeah, so future on Earth. Well, it doesn't have to be Earth, but I think it has to be urban.
yeah.
So like
it's
if it's a
Terminator?
human
Yeah.
Like all the future scenes in the Terminator movies, are those Cyberpunk?
Yes.
Potentially.
Even though they're like
High tech, low life. Hell yeah.
oh, okay.
I would say so. And, it's, and
I
it's,
feel a little.
the only thing that's missing there is
hesitation
like a
over
class
here.
struggle amongst the humans. It's that
I think it should be humans against humans and not
Yes.
humans against machines, which is why I don't think the Matrix is cyberpunk.
Okay, so are we talking about it now or what?
Oh, okay. Hold on. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's table some of this because the reason we're talking about Cyberpunk is because next week, I think it's safe to say this, the most anticipated video game of all time is coming out.
Whoa, of all time?
Well, I mean,
I would say all time.
when you advertise for 7 years.
Yeah, that's the thing.
know, yeah.
Like, it has been hyped for 7 years. The trailer
years.
came out 7 years ago.
8 years.
No, it was 2013. 2013 January. So I mean, we're close on
Yeah,
8.
yeah, yeah.
It's practically
Yeah,
8.
yeah.
But yeah, that trailer came out and people have been wanting this game for 7 years.
Can you possibly live up to 7 years of hype? Can
I
anyone
hope
do
so.
that?
They just need to put out a good game. Like they have my money. They have my goodwill.
Just deliver. Just give me.
And the thing that I can definitely count on them on is that they're going to make a good game. They're not like other companies. Like CD Projekt Red isn't like other spots that are about hitting that bottom line as fast as they can. They're making quality content, which is why it's been in development for eight years, but they've been talking to us about it for a good portion of that
And I think they're known
time.
for, if their A-plot stories are good, they're known that everything else around that storytelling is also going to be really strong.
Yeah.
So if we're waiting to get something that's that good, where it's not just the storyline that people are gonna crush and play that, but you're gonna get distracted by, holy shit, this side quest, this thing, that story, I need to go do that. Okay, I need to go into that world. And if the world is that good, then it's worth it.
I think it will be. And like they've developed the Night City, which is like, have you looked into this at all, Keddy? Or
I just recently started when I for whatever reason, maybe because of who's creating it, I was so sure that it was a third-person game, and I wasn't.
It almost was. It
I'm
was
like,
a
hey, don't get me wrong, I like
first-person,
third-person games and all that, but I'm not like. Knowing that it was a shooter and that it was a third person, I was like, if it's a shooter, it should be first person. And then I found out, oh wait, it is first person.
I think it's both.
It's not anymore.
I think it's just first person.
They kind of announced maybe about a year and a half ago or more that they were taking out third-person functionality, and it was going to be first-person
It just
only.
what threw
That's
me
too
off
bad.
is how
I love third person.
I know everyone's hyping up the customability,
Customization?
Yeah.
of your. It's like I was just so sure if you're going to spend all that time creating a character that you're going to get to see them head to toe all the time.
Yeah.
But if you're first person,
When
you
you
don't. So
when you
No.
create your own characters, do you build your first character to look lots like you, or do you build a character who looks like a fantasy thing you want to stare at their butt the whole time?
yeah, definitely the butt.
Interesting question.
Everybody.
I character build. So like I'll make a character in a game like Skyrim or kind of things like that, where I make a character and I'll only do certain quest lines with that character.
Because that character would
So it's
because
true to that character. That makes
yeah,
sense.
that character would
But
make
you're like a
certain-
hardcore role player, so that makes
I-
perfect.
I-
if you
fuck around.
get the chance to like soup up someone's strength, but that character wouldn't actually be that strong, you don't do it?
Or like if I would say if I knew that the reward for this choice is to soup up their strength, but the character wouldn't make their choice, or it didn't feel right to that character making that choice, I would deny that character that buff.
I like that though.
I
If
love
you're
it.
gonna-
No,
if you're
I
gonna-
love it.
If you're going to RPG, then you're going to role play.
Role play.
so-
and it gives me a chance to go back, roll a new character,
No,
and make
for sure.
different
Yeah,
choices.
and you can like so the customization of this game is kind of crazy sounding. Like in some ways it's more limited than things like by the end of Baldur's Gate there's going to be so many species and so many classes and all that stuff. But this you can go back and so you have a life path to choose where you can play as either a street kid, a corpo or corporate, or a nomad. Nomads are outside the city. Street kids are like gutter punks.
These are like different games if you play it.
Yeah,
they start in very different places.
Yeah.
Do you eventually?
Kind of all wind up at the same spot, but the way you got there is different, and the way people refer to you throughout the game beyond that is based on where you started also.
But that's your life path, and you can also choose different classes. There's net runners, which are the hackers. There's techies, which are machinery based, and then solo, which are heavy combat. And they start very melee.
Yeah.
So you could do each of those classes within each of those life paths.
So the class system, that's it
gonna
for,
be so
for the
fun. It's
tabletop
gonna be great.
RPG.
That seems pretty wild.
Yeah, that's a tabletop RPG. They're very class centric. What they've done for the game is they've taken all of the class perks and put them in a perk tree, so you can actually customize as you like learn and gain XP and stuff. That you could be like, yeah, I'm gonna be a little solo with a little bit of tech and a little bit like they're kind of in these cones or like kind of in these zones of the stats, and they're like.
Do you like when you can do that in your shooter games where you have skill trees? Like I love it in Borderlands.
I love it.
I love it in RPG.
I will say, just like it's like very exciting, but just hearing about you guys talk about it, I know that if I play this game,
You're gone.
I'm gonna have FOMO. No, because I'm always gonna worry that I'm not doing it right.
Just
It's like, oh, there's such a
There's no
cooler way
right.
to play
It's
this.
you.
This guy would have more fun, or I'm like, but I picked this guy now. I have to play the whole game before I can be the tank, before I can be the hacker. Like I don't know. It's just that's so much.
That's why
Do you min-max
that's
when
why
you
it's
play
all
games,
about
or are you
replay.
trying to like always think about like what's the best way to win?
No, it's mostly. I don't play a lot of games. The ones that I do are very story based. But I already I'm gonna have FOMO with this game because there are 3 different storylines I could possibly.
Yeah, you're gonna
But
come
it's not
in, you're gonna
FOMO,
hear
you-
about
I
something
guess I
that
just have
landed.
to
Replay
it again.
play each one.
Play it again and again.
I don't want to make it because it's totally different, but I have that with Stardew Valley. It's a
Very
wildly
Cyberpunk.
different game. But Matt was like talking to someone else in the town a bunch, and I was busy doing my like marry the doctor, and just do my thing. And then he's like, "Whoa, this guy's story is so crazy." I was like, "What? Is that even possible?" I was like, but I was totally having that moment of hearing across the room that something cool was happening. That I was like, fuck, that's like hours away if I want to go figure that out now.
Yeah, I get that hardcore with those games.
But it'll depend on like what side quests you do. How just pick a
I'm gonna-
character
yeah.
and go
I'm
heavy
gonna
one
play
way.
it.
Do like Alain's doing.
Yeah.
Because it
Well,
also
don't do like Alain's doing.
Yeah, don't do a 24-hour.
No one do what Alain.
Yeah. That's
Twitch
still
stream.
in the works. That's still in the works. I hope it gets to happen.
I just mean like stay true to a character.
Yeah.
Just do that and then be like, it might be easier to have this stuff, but maybe I'll do that the next time I play.
Yeah.
And
I'm curious. I'll check it out.
there's also depending on what kind of weapons you use. So there's like there's guns that have advanced tech in them, and you can shoot through walls, or like you can have an effect that goes through walls that's not necessarily bullets. Like there's smart
Slicing
weapons.
and dicing them.
Uzi
There you go.
and katana. That's
there you go,
That's
yeah.
my.
Snake eyes?
I've had the build. I've had the build in my mind since I thought the game was coming out last year.
Yeah, that's
And,
the
I,
other
and I'm
thing.
just
Oh my
like, I
God.
know what I'm gonna roll. Just give me the fucking game, you guys. Just
I
let me
can't
play
believe
it.
how many times this game has been delayed, and yet people are like, there must be some percentage of like audience loss.
Well, people are. I don't think so. I think people are giving them. Well, yes, okay, some audience loss, but I think because their last game has, and all the DLC of it and stuff has been so good.
Witcher, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like the stuff that came out for Witcher most recently is still really great gameplay. So you know, you're like, okay, you got me back in, guys. I'm in.
And when they announced the game, they instead of giving you like a release date, they just said coming out when it's ready.
Yes.
And that's been their going
That's
kind
true.
of like marketing tag forever, because they knew that there was so much goodwill from making a really quality game like The Witcher and phenomenal DLC and expansions, that they could say, okay, we can make a game that good or better, but it's going to take time. So if we let you know that instead of building up and then letting you down by putting out a bad game, we at least have as much time as we need to make a good game.
Well, you don't want to release something right now that is just going to flop entirely and then be like, don't worry, we'll fix it, because people are over that.
Yeah,
There are
that's-
too many
like
games that have come
Marvel.
out in the past
that need
2
patches.
years,
5 years.
yes, like Anthem and Marvel's
was fun,
Avengers.
though.
Sure, they're fun until they're broken or incomplete, and their
Fallout
character-
76.
Fallout 76, Marvel's Avengers. That was a big flop this year too.
That was also fun.
Sure, but it's
I
like
didn't play the whole thing. I just lost interest. But
that's what's up.
I'm
Everyone.
going to say CD Projekt Red owes us a commission because we just sold a copy of Cyberpunk based on this panel.
I don't think they owe us a damn
Your
thing,
mom
but
bought
sure,
her
I'll
nephew
take
a copy. Might
I'll
be
take
your
a
mom,
copy.
right?
how about a
Yeah, she bought
sponsorship?
her nephew, your cousin, I would have
Oh,
Oh, nice,
right on.
nice.
Like literally right now as we're talking.
So, Katie, you were talking about customization. I just wanted to touch on this because this is an interesting aspect of this game.
Yeah.
Beyond what you do as your class and your life path, you can also customize your character's voice, face, hairstyle, body type, body modifications, including genitalia, background, and clothing.
Interesting.
Yeah, like it's hyper character
I
customization.
have to know what can one do to their genitals.
Of course.
That's what everyone asks.
Yeah, little Prince Albert or what?
Well,
I think it's a step beyond that.
Certainly a thing for Cyberpunk in the future worlds of Cyberpunk, thinking ahead to what is the future of modification and incorporating cyber and the technology and the components. But there isn't the dichotomy of male and female anymore. There is
True.
whatever you want to define yourself as, and you want to experiment, and nothing is permanent. So
Yeah.
you could
Very
you're like
true.
swapping your parts out. You define who you are in the moment and how you feel about yourself.
Yeah.
It's like in a world like I haven't gone deep into like all of the things that you can or can't do, or what they have made available or unavailable in the game in regards to kind of like body customization and things like that. But like ideally, in a world where gender is an afterthought or a thing of the past, like the kind of like the prejudicial commodity becomes like how much or the quality of the cyber modification.
Oh,
that you
that's
have.
a cheap one.
Like what
Then
class? do you come from?
classism
Like,
won't go away, and that's
exactly.
clearly the theme of cyberpunk
Yeah.
stuff is class struggle.
It's funny that when you look at like Total Recall as a movie of, but like they were just like, oh, you can do anything to your body. 3 boobs. 3 boobs. 3 boobs.
Oh, I just heard that was a mistake. It was asked for it to be
6 boobs.
no, like just gigantic boobs.
Oh.
Like because they're mutants, right? And
Yeah.
and it was I think it was the director. Someone who, I can't remember who told me this. I think it was Noor told me the story that it was the guy has such a thick Dutch accent that he was asking for just huge boobs, and they were like, "What? What's he saying?" And he ended up with 3 boobs.
Well, it's iconic, so it's a great.
Who directed that? Was that Paul Verhoeven?
That was
Yeah,
Paul
it was
Verhoeven.
Yeah, that track.
Is that Cyberpunk?
Yes.
I guess.
Are aliens allowed in Cyberpunk?
Oh, they aren't aliens.
No,
Are they
there
allowed?
aliens. Oh, they're mutants.
So when you
right.
look at
They're
like, if
mutated
you look at,
humans.
I looked for a list of stuff that's cyberpunk, and some stuff that I don't necessarily agree with, because I think once you get aliens into it, like Roz was saying, it's kind of human centric.
Yeah,
Like
I can see that. I agree
yeah,
with that.
and I mean it's a subgenre, so it's kind of loose.
Yeah.
It's all sci-fi.
Exactly. Like
Tank Girl Cyberpunk?
you got your
So
post-apocalypse.
Matt and I were having this fight
Yeah,
earlier
I think so.
about is Tank Girl cyberpunk or
Do
not.
they really have advanced tech though?
Well,
It's advanced tech that has then
for
been
their
bombed
some of them
out.
for their world, but also the corporation. You don't really live with the same place as the corporation, so you're not really like lowlifes in the streets. You're kind of sent out into the wilderness because they're not really in the same. At least I don't see that in the world of the movie. You only see the corporate offices,
Yeah.
but they don't really. They're keeping all of the lowlifes outside, so it's not really like an interactive urban environment in the same way.
What about Demolition Man?
Yes, definitely. It's future. There's weird class struggle. There's people in the sewers that are low life. There's
Yeah.
people
But
above
again,
that are-
is the story that we're following? If it's a cyberpunk world, but are we following characters who are punk, or are we following?
That's what
Right?
gets me is that like
Sure. Okay.
I think it can be a world that
But
there
we
could be
were.
a cyberpunk story. In
But
there.
Stallone's character in Demolition Man was from now, or well, he was from the 90s. He's not from now.
He was from a very like bombed out past. right?
Detroit.
Like,
Yeah, he was from Detroit.
Or
maybe now.
Detroit.
that could be
anytime.
right now.
Okay, now we were talking about RoboCop. Can we talk
Yeah.
about RoboCop?
Sure.
Yes.
Because he's half man, half robot.
He's a
I get it.
All
I
cop.
get the title explains it. Yes.
What it said on the on the cassette
Man,
that I read and
all
watched as a
cop.
kid.
That was where I learned the word fuck, actually.
Nice.
Fun, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I
what's
do
up.
not
Like,
remember where I learned
I will
that.
also say that the best cyberpunk kind of things also came out at a time when R-rated films also toys marketed to kids, which is like if your first exposure to Cyberpunk was a T-800 toy or a Robocop toy, like perfectly valid.
So first exposures to Cyberpunk, to the best of my knowledge, mine is the Genesis game Shadowrun, which is, we have a short video for you to see what I believe is my my first exposure to Cyberpunk. And it sticks in my memory because it was an RPG, but like a video game RPG, a JRPG kind of thing. But as you could see in the video, there was a top-down sort of world-exploring aspect, where you did combat and stuff, and then this was hacking.
the internet, yeah,
This
that's
was
the
their
internet.
version of hacking, what was called the Matrix in the Shadowrun. Yeah, it was actually called the Matrix. Pre-Matrix, it was called the Matrix. And yeah, that was my first exposure, and I think at the time, in '94, I must have been 10 or 11. I basically was watching my brother play for the most part, but like reading everything. And I was like, this is so cool. I remember like thinking about going to the stations and hacking into and it was wild. And it kind of looks like Lawnmower Man, which is the funny thing.
That's what Kenny was just saying. He's like,
Lawnmower
I
Man
just
also
said,
Cyberpunk.
is that
it's on
Cyberpunk?
cyberpunk list.
Yes,
Yes.
But I
Lawnmower
feel like
Man.
there's no. Who's the punk element? Punk is in just
Oh, okay, so
fuck
punk-
the establishment,
punk
or
doesn't-
punk is in. You have to be a.
But I
punk
do
that-
think to be a really
Anti-establishment.
genuine, yeah, but like, and to be a real cyberpunk story, you have to, and I think Matt was saying it yesterday, but he's like, you want to spit in the face of the establishment. You're not
Yeah,
just
yeah.
you versus them. You're punk about it, right? So
Yeah, you're punk about it. There
which
you go.
I am very much not. So I will be playing Corpos.
I'm gonna play Corpo as well, but I'm gonna start Corpo and end somewhere else, a la
Can you
a
be?
lot of my favorite cyberpunk.
Could I be a corpo, like a tank corpo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
And the corpo for the bad
your
guy?
class stats are separate from your origin path, right?
Okay.
I mean, here's the thing. If you're playing as a corpo, you're not going to see yourself as the bad guy. There'll be a bad guy.
Very true.
And then there's you. And however you play the game.
Well, I guess that would be great storytelling if they make everyone seem like, oh yeah, no, we're the good guys.
Well, that's
yeah.
that's how you make the best villains, is you make them think they're doing right.
Yeah, for sure.
Although you love the Joker, and I don't know that he thinks what he's doing is right.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't pretend like you know the mind of the Joker.
Don't pretend like you know the mind of the Joker.
I didn't say I did.
I mean, you can do the right thing for the wrong reason, or you can do the wrong thing for no reason.
Yeah, on point.
Oh, you don't know that that's for no reason. What was your first exposure, Roz, to Cyberpunk?
Probably Blade Runner. Yeah.
Yeah?
Which is, I think, most people's classic example. I have much shame to admit that I have not seen the new one. Oh.
I haven't either, but it's because I haven't actually been able to sit through the first one. I've tried between 5 to 10. I don't know because I always fall asleep. I own it on DVD. I've been trying since DVD, not Blu-ray. Every time I try to watch that movie, I'm unconscious. Like, I don't know, 20 minutes in, maybe I've made it. It's so boring.
It's slow. I love it, but like when I found it, I told all my friends about it in like junior high. Like it was like episode 1 had just come out on VHS, DVD, and I was going back through my Star Wars kick, and I went to my local video store, and I saw the cover for the Blade Runner director's cut.
And you saw Harrison Ford.
I saw Harrison Ford in a sci-fi world, and I was like, I want more of that.
Yeah.
And so I picked it up, and I watched it, and it was not Star Wars, but I was so intrigued. I was just like,
Yeah.
wow, like, yeah, it blew me away.
I really liked the movie, but I will say like I know a big criticism of the new one. People are like, oh, it was so slow, and it's like, have you seen the original? Like,
The original
It's
is
also
slow.
very slow.
Hell,
Yeah, yeah.
like,
it's like
painfully slow.
I do really like it, but I totally understand falling asleep.
Like the treating the world as the other protagonist sucks. I hate it.
Well, I do like when films treat their environment as a character, but yeah, it's a slow movie.
Yeah.
And the environment of that movie is kind of based a bit on Vancouver.
Oh yeah.
Was it shot here?
Matt was saying that no, not the shooting of it, the creation of it.
Yeah.
Matt was saying that the guy who wrote it
The original.
wrote the
story.
original. Like, was it a novel?
Yeah.
Yeah, that he was living on
Do
Hastings.
Android's Dream of Electric Sheep was Philip K. Dick, and it got adapted to Blade Runner.
Wait, who
Okay.
wrote Johnny Mnemonic?
William Gibson, who's
Oh,
also
yeah, because
He's a
he
local
lives here.
boy.
I interviewed him for a documentary here.
yeah.
He lives here.
Yeah, he
But yeah,
notoriously.
well,
What's up with Vancouver people? We just love to write noir stories in the rain.
Well, and up until the 90s,
sense to me.
Vancouver had, like downtown Vancouver had a ton of neon lights. Like the neon was everywhere.
Yeah.
I grew up here and I remember seeing neon everywhere I drove around.
That's super cool,
And
though.
it all got taken down over time, and there was just neon lights like down the Granville Strip. There's still
Yeah.
a little bit around, but like even like heading all the way into Burnaby, I remember there was one, it was a Chinese restaurant, the giant neon dragon. That thing
The
was cool
neon
as hell.
East Van sign is awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I love that.
I don't think that's neon.
It's not neon?
I don't think that's neon.
Whatever.
Fact check.
I was going to say a very disturbing fact has emerged in the chat,
Oh.
which is that your partner Ash has apparently never been exposed to the genre of cyberpunk. So y'all need to fix that.
Oh,
What?
well, I will be playing Cyberpunk 2077 as of next week and very heavily over the holidays. Exposure, she's a comin'.
I think that means that we should play some tabletop
Yeah.
punk.
And,
And
like-
she should literally be in the world and roll some
Yeah.
You guys should have seen Blade Runner, right?
No.
What?
No. Don't be surprised by Ash not seeing a movie, because I've spent 7 years showing her movies that everyone has seen. She is not that person. That's
dope.
I'm not
She makes
surprised.
really
Yeah.
cool
She's
She's
stuff.
flipping me off camera right now. Aw.
It's a heart
Thank
made
you,
out
Alan.
of 2 middle fingers.
Ash. Hey.
I think my first, I want to say it
Maybe
was,
first Cyberpunk.
I went to, is Akira Cyberpunk?
Yes.
Well, then I was going to say it's Ghost in the Shell because I saw Akira and then
Ghost-
Ghost in the Shell on the same day.
Ghost in the
But I
Shell
guess it was
probably-
Akira then because I saw that first.
Ghost in the Shell is probably a better example of cyberpunk than Akira is.
No. Why?
Yes, I think Akira, and I think this is
Ryan
this is
has
where
opinions too, but yes.
This is where I think you're also drawing certain lines as well. It's like is it punky or is it cybery? Like, it's because it's such a weird niche subgenre.
Because Akira has the punk, but Ghost in the Shell has the cyber.
I think there's the
It has
sliding
the
scale of all these
Ghost
genres.
in the Shell, they were much
So
more
Akira
connected.
is credited. So there's two things that are mostly credited with the coining of the term cyberpunk, and the first one is the novel Neuromancer, and the other
William
thing
Gibson?
is the manga of fucking Akira.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Akira in 1982, and then the movie in '88.
Yeah.
And that is, if it's coined with like it's credited with coining the fucking genre. You can't say anything else is
But I
more
think
the thing than the thing that
Ghost in the
started.
Shell,
the thing.
you might be more of these things that don't fit necessarily into cyberpunk, but we could call them tech noir.
Word.
Sure.
Yeah.
I like that.
Akira's not tech noir.
No,
though.
I'm
There's
not saying Akira,
detective,
Ghost in the
like-
Shell.
No, but Ghost in the Shell would be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
I like that.
Yeah.
Right, but then so we're trying to decide like what is, because as a subgenre, there's going to be so much like fine lines where you're going to call
Yeah.
things.
Oh, God,
we
yeah.
were
Exactly.
talking about hackers the other day. Like, does that
Yeah.
really count?
So what I didn't realize
But
about
it's not in the
hackers,
future.
it wasn't future. I thought it was too, but I had to look it up because I was talking to Matt about this yesterday. I was like, so hackers would totally be cyberpunk because it's got the punk, it's got the like hack the planet, all. It's got the punk aspect to
Acid
it
burn.
hard, and it's.
I
got
love
the
that
tech.
movie, man.
It's so much fun.
It's such a great movie.
What does it hold up? I don't know.
I think don't watch it again.
But it was. It came out in '95, and I had to check, but it was set in '95.
so
Word.
it's not a dystopian future.
Not a dystopian future. It was
But
a,
it was
like,
a dystopian
weird
present.
alternate
At
present.
it was like at the time I didn't understand about like
Hacking?
I didn't understand the relationship between film and hacking, so I just thought what I saw was how it was done. I was like, oh, like okay, they're like somehow like they're flying through the computer and like they're targeting these things. Like, oh, it's got to be the future because that's not real yet.
Yeah. Well, you know what was the future is the shit they were using in that movie. Because there's moments when he's got like a rig on his head with like an eyepiece, and he's like,
All I remember about that movie
all
is
bullshit.
that on his pants, he had this like stripe down the side, and then my sister really liked the movie, and I was like, he's got racing stripes on his pants.
I just remember Angelina Jolie's haircut,
Yeah, she's like a pixie cut.
and that was the first time I'd seen her, and I was like, okay, yeah, all right.
Early manic pixie dream girl.
I just remember he like on the spot, he like makes the bells ring so all the kids come out, and then he whips out an umbrella and he
Yeah.
like triggers the spray.
Yeah,
And I was
yeah.
like, oh, I can do that with the computer? Like, let me learn. And then obviously I gave it in like a day. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well,
It was
that
not the
movie's
birth of
credited
Kenny
with
the hacker.
at the time that
Was
movie
not.
came out, though, only 20% of like people had the internet at home. So that movie's credited with basically letting people know about the internet. Like it was the movie for people to understand. Like, what is this internet thing?
Doesn't Penn from Penn and Teller play a hacker in that movie?
Oh, I don't know. You want to look it up?
Two things. I can, yes, absolutely. First off, in the anime genre, my take on the seminal cyberpunk classic is the OVA Serial Experiments Lane. Fantastic show. But also, someone in the chat, Petra, had a really interesting take on a
Petra.
film
Hey,
that's
Petra.
cyberpunk that maybe you don't think is cyberpunk. The Truman Show.
Petra killing it over
Now,
there.
there's a reaction. That's a reaction that the panel has never done before. So,
I've never
kudos
seen a
to you,
simultaneous four-person O. So kudos, Petra.
right on. Yeah. Wow, that would be because future tech.
Yeah.
Although punk low
that was
life.
modern day.
Okay, so we can argue that it is dystopic in that it posits a society that would allow a voyeurism that
Destroys a life?
disregards human life and agency,
Or human, yeah.
and
agency
then
is the-
and
is
then
the thing.
it and then there is an arc for that character to go through discovery and rebellion of the falseness and into the
It's not
Sure, but it's
doesn't
only the
quite
one
do
character.
The aesthetic of.
I mean, that's
certainly
fine.
not the aesthetic.
That's fine.
Certainly
I
not
feel
the
like the
aesthetic.
aesthetic is very important here.
Well, the aesthetic takes place in the control room in that. Like when they're up there and you
Yeah,
look at their like
yeah.
they're where I mean they look like they're just
Yeah.
like they're
It's
like
a
slam
TV,
poetry night.
like production control room on camera.
Yeah, and he has a beret that's like this. But
That's very cyberpunk.
I'd like to show the example I brought, which is back to the comic book world. So if you have Transmetropolitan handy. If we can cut to that when Alex is ready. So yeah, amazing series of novels, awesome storytelling, gonzo journalist in this futuristic dystopian world. It's super urban, lots of body modification through cybernetics, lots of crazy drug stuff. It's like super colorful, crazy, weird. Warren Ellis. I'm sure if Nora's in the chat, he can talk a bit about it too.
Nice.
But
Yeah.
Nora's gonna go off, I bet.
yeah. Like that's the character Spider.
Matt?
And yeah, he's like, tasked to come back and tell
I
the story of
want
this
those
election
sunglasses.
and do all this stuff. And yeah, it's the people versus the man.
Okay.
But it's great.
Okay.
But the world is forking crazy. He's got a cat with more than one head, and he's like a part of this society where there's people who are living in and out of technology and dealing with all of that stuff. And who we are and what we stand for is just a huge part of it.
So, I have a list of
And?
things that are considered cyberpunk.
By the internet.
Before we start that,
go.
I would like to say a thing about cyberpunk as a genre.
Sure.
It is a subgenre, and it is a subgenre that in and of itself didn't last very long. It is like, what I mean by that is this. It's like its relevancy kind of ebbed and flowed, right? As time went on and how we used it changed.
Sure.
So there's going to be a lot of debate about what is and isn't cyberpunk. I'm always like, I've kind of released my firm hold on what I believe, like the hard, fast lines of what cyberpunk is, because just about every example of it that I can think of omits something that the other one does not. So like, I'm always very careful of like, oh, that has cyberpunk elements. Like I think of like,
And it's all sci-fi.
yeah,
As geeks, don't we want to just get together and argue about things we love?
for sure.
I mean,
yeah, for
I mean,
sure.
It is fun.
So if we're gonna read a list of things that aren't cyberpunk, I'm not saying one is because one isn't.
No. It's not what is and isn't.
Word.
It's hits and misses. And
Ooh.
do they hold up?
Got it. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So just quality, not their value to the cyberpunk genre. Then.
Yeah. So, I mean, we
Also,
could
like,
say,
it's your own
is it?
opinion. I
Yeah.
love Johnny Mnemonic, and maybe everybody else is not as into it, but you're wrong.
I barely remember that movie.
What?
Yeah.
Give it a go. I
Judge
watched it.
Dredd?
Yeah.
What about Elysium?
So,
least-
yes, also on the list.
Oh, so
Yeah, so
let's
here we
make.
go.
But we can
Here we go.
debate.
Okay.
Because, I mean, we should look at, like, is this cyberpunk? I don't know.
Is this
Yeah.
cyberpunk? Do you like it? Are you wrong? Go.
Yeah. and the list was, like, way longer, so I took the ones that I recognized as
Yeah.
opposed to the ones where I was like, what the fuck is that? So, Tron.
Oh, yeah. I feel like that's the quintessential, like almost.
He
That's
got
like,
sucked into a machine, which is a proto net running web surfing kind of element.
High tech.
But
High tech.
did it have the class struggle, though?
I mean, within the terms of the the machine, in terms of the game, both Tron and its sequel.
So here's why I ask. I've never seen Tron.
Okay.
have you seen the new one? Have you
So
seen
I'm
the new one?
actually asking. I haven't seen either of them. Nope.
One was shot.
I literally watched Tron Legacy 2 days ago just to remind myself that part of it was shot here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right here.
We're in
Literally
his
right
apartment
here.
right now.
It's not a great movie by any means.
No.
It's passable.
The
The,
soundtrack is
production
dope, though.
design
Oh, that soundtrack
is incredible.
slaps.
The soundtrack, Daft Punk. Probably the scene that was my favorite was the one scene where Daft Punk is actually DJing
Yeah.
in a future VR nightclub.
Okay,
And
I'll
just
watch
kind of
that.
like look
Yeah,
at each
with,
other. Like the bad guy
Michael
comes
Sheen.
in and some shit's about to pop off, and like people are dying and getting turned into like weird blue, like
Pixelated, yeah.
Michael
pixelated
Sheen's
goo.
doing, like, a digital
and they just
David
kind of look at
Bowie
each other and they're like, yeah, let's.
impression.
Is the class struggle only within the game, or is it in the real world?
So like as soon as he gets sucked into the game, he encounters like nodes and programs that are personified by people, and there is a class structure, like a class struggle between them.
Yeah,
but within
and
the
just
game-
the
You don't spend
human
a lot of
element-
time in the real
So
world.
it's not really future, it's like alternate world. I would say not cyberpunk then.
I would say yes. I'd say yes.
But of the people who are passionate about it, is it a good movie?
Yeah.
Uh,
Hits and misses.
can't remember the
but
first
But
one.
it pioneers things. I don't think it's a great film on its own. as a film or as a plot. Like it was made in reliance of the technology that was used to make it.
Yeah.
But the technology that was used to make it is more important anyway.
And it made for great memes. Next.
Great meme.
We've already touched on a few of these. Blade Runner, Terminator, Robocop, The Running Man.
Oh, shit.
No.
We're going chronologically.
The Running Man.
No.
No?
I don't. I feel like they're just
Cyberpunk?
using like crowbars and stuff. There's no
Or-
cyber.
It's certainly dystopian.
Okay, it's dystopian.
Yeah.
And it is about
But they don't use technology.
feeding social media, or feeding media, like sacrificing
But
human
it's like
life to
analog
feed
media. It's like they're all watching broadcast.
But it was
TV.
future
Yeah.
at the time.
But it was like
futuristic.
future broadcast TV. I think it was pre the idea.
And I
of
think, can you be
virtual
cyberpunk
realities?
if you predate the definition of cyberpunk?
Yeah. I don't think it can
Oh.
be. I don't think it can be cyberpunk unless it includes the cyber.
I'm going,
the
I'm going
cyber.
chronologically, and it was after Blade Runner, Terminator, Robocop.
Except Blade Runner is an adaptation of a book
That's
that
true,
predates
yeah.
it significantly.
That's true.
And like the proto-cyberpunk.
I think Running Man's an adaptation as well.
Oh,
you want to
also-
look that up, right?
Is it not Philip K.
everything
Dick?
an
Running Man is the adaptation. As
Yeah.
well,
Philip K. Dick, but, like if it comes from the same dude, he was doing some shit.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
say
Thinking some things.
Does it hold up?
Big things.
Eh.
Oh, it's
What?
it's a rump.
What
I
are you
mean,
talking about? Running Man?
the Running Man.
I
I
love the
think
Running
Running
Man.
Man, you could literally make that show.
Oh, dude, they got to do with the chainsaw and rollerblades. Like,
Yeah, Sub-Zero. No, Plane Zero.
is rollerball?
Arguably
Wait,
his
wait,
first
wait.
ice
If he has
That's
rollerblades and a chainsaw, everything just gets a pass from you?
I mean, yeah. All right.
Okay.
You got rollerblades and a chainsaw.
We've already
you
talked
can go in my
about
book.
Lawnmower Man, Demolition Man, Strange Days.
Strange Days is cyberpunk.
Hardcore it is.
Hard cyberpunk.
Days. What is
Yeah,
that one?
you've never seen Strange Days?
believe it.
Oh,
You
it's dope.
should watch Strange
should
Days.
watch
What is
Strange
Strange Days?
I will tell you, it had Ray Fiennes and
Stand by.
Juliette Lewis
TED
in
Talk
it.
is incoming.
And Angela Bassett.
And Angela
Don't
Bassett.
sleep on Angela Bassett.
Right here, right now. That's where that comes from. So Strange Days takes place in the future, which was 1999. And it was at the time. But they have these things called squids. It's a technology that you can you put this thing on your head and it records onto a mini disc player, which was not really released at the time, so it looked futuristic. It was
Yeah.
a tiny little thing. And you could record your whole experience. When you play it back, if you're wearing a squid, you put it on, you put the thing in, you play it, and now you're experiencing what that person's life was in that time. And there's a black market of selling people running in and robbing restaurants or banks, and then snuff films or sexual experiences, and you get to relive that experience through the technology.
So that
super cool.
I'll tell you how cyberpunk that
I've
is.
seen this
That
movie.
is a feature in the upcoming cyberpunk game.
Oh!
You get to do brain dances of and relive people's experiences. Then you can pause them, roam around in the environment as long as the person who recorded it can see or perceive that thing. And you can
shit.
solve mysteries and find clues in those things.
'Cause what
it
I-
is cyberpunk as
But when it comes to what was it, neo-noir,
Neo-noir.
neo-noir, or
Neon
tech-noir,
or
Yeah.
tech-noir.
yeah. So it does have that movie itself has a whodunit kind of through line.
Yeah.
So I would almost classify it as it feels very noir. You're following one character
I
through
don't know about you
his
guys,
dark
but I was
journey.
super bad at LA Confidential solving crimes, so I do not think that I'm gonna do so good at cyberpunk solving crimes. Are they lying? I don't know. Everybody
bang.
looks like they're telling the truth. I played Among Us. I'm bad.
No, you're not. At being the imposter. Hey, I've been the imposter once. I got one kill and I was on camera. I'm terrible. I'm the worst. Okay, Strange Days. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Look it up. It's old, but it's fun. I think it holds up.
And it holds up incredibly.
It does.
Yeah.
It holds up surprisingly well, and it was a movie that a lot of people didn't see back then.
I'll check it out.
But check it out.
Next.
Dark City. And that just lit up.
So, pre-Matrix shares set pieces and filming locations with the Matrix.
Yeah, but
Shares
that's
kind of interesting themes with the Matrix.
Oh no, you're gonna pop Kenny's bubble that the Matrix might not be the best thing ever.
Alien.
listen. We'll have
I'm
that.
on his side.
We'll have that argument when we need to. Wait,
The first
are you an
movie was
anti-Matrixer as well?
I think the Matrix is fine.
The
It's
first one.
fine.
The first one was okay.
Right?
Second and third took away from the whole and were just not great.
We have to have a whole Matrix
Yeah,
episode.
that's
We'll
a separate
just-
episode.
I literally just did my annual rewatch of the trilogy.
We will
Like,
do that
yeah.
because the 4 is coming out next
coming
year,
out.
Yeah.
and it's coming
Okay,
out on
yeah,
HBO
it
Max.
is. It ticks a major Cyberpunk box in that Keanu Reeves is in it. I'll give you that.
Yeah. He doesn't play someone named John, so that's half a mark.
Right? Well, half point.
What?
Wait, what were we were just talking about something. I had a point to make.
We were talking about Dark City.
Yeah.
Dark City. Dark City is.
Aliens. There's aliens. It can't be Cyberpunk.
It's
Well, I
like-
was gonna
it's like
say it's more
Eldritch
like a
alien
grim,
horror.
dark thing. Like it's not like no one in that place wants to do anything with that technology. It's all the technology that is shitty. It's
Are there
all,
aliens
it
in
makes
that
your life
movie?
pretty
Yeah.
horrible.
Okay, this is a
I
spoiler
don't think
for me.
I don't think they're aliens, are they?
So this is another weird
Don't
movie
bring up
that I've
movies you've already
tried.
seen.
I've tried to watch it. I don't even know how many times. So many times.
Yeah.
Wait,
and
more
know
or
that it-
less times than Blade Runner?
Probably more. But it has to do with like shit happening when you sleep. So I always fall asleep. And now it kind of scares me. It's like Joey and Friends throwing The Shining in the freezer. I'm like, I shouldn't watch this anymore because someone's probably fucking with me in my sleep.
I
watched Nightmare on
I
Elm Street?
rewatched Dark
Yeah.
City this year.
Oh.
Yeah. I fuck around like that. It's dope. I like that film a
Great
lot.
film.
I'm not sure if it is.
Cyberpunk.
If it's Cyberpunk, it does a lot of things.
Does it
does
hold
the
up?
yes.
Yeah?
Yes. Some elements.
Maybe I'll give it
Maybe
another
not as
try.
much, but the majority of it does, and it's a fun watch. Have fun.
Existence.
I've never seen
Oh,
that.
no.
Oh.
Wait,
What years? Do you have the years?
Existence,
Did you write
not
the years
existence.
Down? So
What?
we can do you have the years down? Oh, thumbs up from Annette.
Tell me
But
about
did you write the
Never
years
heard of
down
it.
so we know where are we relative to this?
Oh, 96, I'm going to say. Look it up.
What's it?
Existence.
Sorry, Existence.
Little E, big X,
He's busy.
Estens. I don't
1999. 99.
99, shit.
Tell me about Existence.
I don't. What?
Existence, 1999, is a science fiction thriller film written and produced by David Cronenberg. The plot of the film follows a
Cronenberg.
game designer named Allegra Geller, played blah, 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 blah. She is targeted by assassins while playing virtual. Yeah, that's definitely Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Assassins, game designer,
So-
virtual reality, Cyberpunk.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the coolest thing about Existence is gun kata.
No,
Look
that's
up-
No, that's Equilibrium.
Equilibrium.
That's Equilibrium.
Yeah.
Never
Also
mind. The
cool.
Existence
Yeah.
had
Also
worms
cool
in
movie.
it? Were there weird worms that went in your brain?
That sounds more Cronenberg.
Yeah. I barely
Made a
remember
Cronenberg
Existence.
world, Morty.
I definitely watched it.
I don't know if this will be on your list or not, so I'm just gonna.
It's just a list, so I don't have details.
about 12
of
Monkeys?
things.
Okay, wait. I'm gonna throw one out. A 2020 film directed by David Cronenberg's son, called Possessor.
Possessor. I've
Oh.
heard.
It is the most uncomfortable thing I've watched in a very long time.
Really?
There was not one point in that film where I was like, what's happening
These candies are good.
is
You were just like-
okay. like the whole time I was like, this is bad. I hope it ends up okay, and then it doesn't.
Oh.
When I saw
Trailer is
Antichrist.
unsettling.
Yeah, I would.
Possessor?
Yes,
I
I
haven't
would
even heard of
argue. I would argue based on certain factors in that film that I will not spoil for you. That is a cyberpunk film,
Oh, okay.
and
Oh, that's
watch
funny
it,
as
but
Can anyone remember? I can't remember the name of this movie, but it was like, I want to say early 2000s, and it was about, I don't know, it was like people, an organization, and they could record people's experiences and then
Minority Report? No, that was
No,
Predict.
but you could go, it was either they
Not Cyberpunk.
plugged it into your brain or you went into a pod or something and you could relive the experiences that people had
that sounds like Strange Days.
sorry?
That sounds like Strange.
Sounds like
Days.
Strange Days.
Which is what we
Strange Days.
Yeah,
talked about.
look up
Yeah.
Strange Days.
What was the movie where you could you live as your avatar thing?
Avatar?
Oh, no.
What?
Gerard Butler?
Yes.
Gamer.
Gamer. That was bad.
Cyberpunk bad.
Yeah, definitely.
That movie ended with this
Cyberbad?
bizarre
Dance number?
dance number. Yeah. What? I'll give it that. Like they had that movie was pretty wild actually.
I got another. This is maybe a bad take, but I'm gonna put it out there. A hot take
Let's
on
do
a Dark Horse Cyberpunk film. Josie and the Pussycats.
What?
I'm gonna stop you right there.
No,
What?
it wasn't set in the future.
Sorry?
Wasn't set in the future.
But it was set in a sort of future where the bad guys tried to use like brain controlling bunny ears to like.
So they had tech that didn't exist, but it
I
wasn't
cannot
set in the
remember
future.
that, and that was the plot,
But it was
plot
a
point of the
deeply
movie.
subversive
What,
film.
Kenny? You don't remember that?
It was infused with a bizarrely punk ethos.
It was great. It had a really cool message of like anti-propaganda, anti-mainstream advertising. It was a great movie.
Wait,
I
is
honestly
Minority
think-
Report?
Rosario Dawson's in it. I'm good.
Is Minority Report?
Yeah.
I mean,
If we can just
Minority
quick
Report's on the
Rosario
like
Dawson.
it's listed as it, but
Stuff.
it's more so a
Philip K. Dick
tech
thing, isn't it?
noir or neo noir.
yes.
Yeah, I would say
Oh.
I would say tech noir. I don't think Minority Report. A, it's bad, and B, it's not Cyberpunk. It is bad. The only good version of that
Hey,
is
she
in
said part
Futurama.
of it is, "Are you wrong?"
What is the,
you're
what is-
wrong.
what is the good part about
Wait, no,
Minority
there
Report?
was one really.
There
whole.
was never a part of that film where I was not enraptured, even when they were making choices. Even when they were making choices that I wouldn't make, I was still enthralled by them.
When they the whole sequence where he gets the new eyes, that was rad.
Yeah.
And then she makes him that killer sandwich with a big old whole glass of milk.
She
And
makes
he-
him a sandwich?
No,
I am out.
he has no eyes.
Get
he has,
from me.
He has no eyes, and she makes him great sandwich, but then he eats the rotten one. Anyways, I love that sequence. But then his eyes are all wrapped up,
Thank
and they're
God she
like,
was there to make him a sandwich.
Wait a minute, no one made him a sandwich. The doctor was a piece of shit
Doctor
who
was a
made a
piece of
good
shit.
and a bad sandwich for him for fun.
No, the bad sandwich was just like an old one that a patient didn't eat back in the
the
day or
fuck?
something. It was like in the fridge. It had
No,
been
I
in the
thought
fridge.
he did that as a trick because he knew that person didn't have eyes.
Okay, I'm with Roz. Fuck that movie.
All right.
All I'm gonna say is that the scene where they're trying to figure out who's who, and they let all the creepy spiders into the building, and he's got to like lift his eye open. That
One
was
of my
that was
favorite
a tense
scenes.
scene.
One of my
Prior to
favorite
mentioning
scenes is
creepy
when-
spiders, the first thing you mentioned was fucking sandwich. If the defining moment of a movie is a sandwich, it's a shitty
No,
movie.
it's just I remember how good the sandwich looked, and then he eats the bad one.
I
was
just
like,
think
oh,
you
buddy.
like sandwiches.
I
So
do.
So
Yeah,
this
that's
is how
fair.
to make a movie for Kitty.
Yeah.
It has a chainsaw, it has someone on rollerblades, and they have sandwiches.
and they
But
make
the
amazing
chainsaw has to be on roller. Like it has to be a chainsaw
Oh.
wielding rollerblade riding.
And eating a sandwich.
Rollerball is like a great movie. Well, that's it.
Not Cyberpunk.
Is that Cyberpunk?
dystopian.
No.
It's dystopian, not cyberpunk.
Is Alita Battle
Yes.
Agent? Okay.
Yes.
Alita, the
That
Battle
had,
Angel
but
is
that was
cyberpunk.
rollerball. That had rollerball. That was
Yeah, but it was cyberpunk
played
before
rollerball
they
in
put
it.
that in there.
okay.
So Alita, Battle Angel, and the what
The
it's
anime,
adapted from,
yeah.
which was Battle,
Battle
Angel,
Angel,
Alita,
Alita,
both cyberpunk. Hell yes.
Huge.
High tech, low life.
Yeah.
To yes, and
Yeah.
then like social struggle.
Yeah,
all
like
that's in
it's
there.
a physical
Fucking layered.
representation of it where people live in a city floating in the sky
Yeah.
that the story never goes to while
Yeah.
you're down here.
Spriggan Cyberpunk?
Is what?
Spriggan?
So now that's some
At the
deep
anime?
cut
It's
Katsuhiro
not on my
Toro
list. and
anime.
I don't know what that is.
Dope anime.
I think maybe.
What about-
If Akira is cyberpunk, then Spriggan gets it.
Right, but what about Ex Machina?
That has to be, right?
that
Ex Machina
Well,
is
no, no, no,
cyberpunk.
no,
Ex
no,
Machina is
There's no
cyberpunk.
dredges in that.
Right.
There's no underlining like the dredges of
So
society. or
that probably transitions into a cyberpunk movie when she escapes.
No, but I mean, like it is about like the oppression of
Now, what do you do
The
about it's
will
not,
of-
because it's not necessarily humans versus humans either, right?
no. I mean, it is human versus human about what is and isn't okay to deal with something very.
And when do we start to call our AI friends humans?
so
I wasn't talking about. I was talking
Oh,
about
that's all- I need the whole-
the CEO and the
Right.
pawn
Yeah.
versus and about what to do about this.
I don't think
This,
I
like,
agree with humans
synthetic
versus humans
intelligence.
being an absolutely defining factor. I
Okay.
think that if it's human
Hit me.
created problem, like if we're the creators of our own demise, if we've created the AI or the robots that are fucking us up,
Then the Matrix
The
counts.
Matrix
then,
has to
then the
count.
Matrix should count. I think
The
it should
Matrix
count.
also is not very punk.
It's not
They're
very
punk as
punk.
hell.
So we-
It's the
They're
first
the
one's
most,
not.
They shoot the establishment
Oh wait,
in
no.
the face.
First one is. No, it
They
is
literally
punk.
shoot men in ties. Like that's like the
I'd say
most
it's punk.
anti-establishment you can
It's
get.
punk.
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
the Matrix itself isn't punk. It's like when you're in the Matrix, it's not punk. But when you take
of
the
the
right
Matrix.
pill and you're out the Matrix, that's pretty punk. That's pretty low life. Like you're
not
eating
urban.
paste.
It's not urban. They live in the
Also, the science is
ruins
so
of an
dumb.
urban society.
The science what?
is so dumb.
Oh.
Humans make terrible batteries. Okay, if your mom is in the chat, she'll back me up. The science is dumb. I'm sorry, Kitty.
Wait. The first iteration. Oh, wait. Oh, okay, wait. Hold on. I just
Science is dumb.
recently rewatched the second Renaissance.
People make terrible batteries.
That was only when they were taking like the heat from us.
Yeah.
Granted, and that was like Matrix 1. That's when they realized, oh, these people don't work very well. But then they were taking something else other than thermo.
So wait,
So I have a theory about
Wait.
why they
I have to argue this.
drew their power from humans instead. It's because
Asimov's laws of robotics?
you and I talked
The
about
laws of thermodynamics say no, so I don't know about everybody else's
Like,
laws.
You and I talked about like the anime Matrix, right? So
Yeah.
like the anime adaptation of like things that happened before the
Second
Matrix
Renaissance
and like
1 and 2.
and concurrent stories. The second
Have you seen
Renaissance
those?
1 and 2.
Yes.
Okay.
Those are cyberpunk.
Yes.
I would say that I think that because the machines tried to join the United Nations with the humans, they always wanted to work with the humans.
Hand over your
and
flesh.
then when they like killed them, said no, and then the machines fought for their own survival. And then when they won that war, they didn't want to genocide the humans, so they used a machine logical
We have to do something with all these
solution
meat pockets.
to deal with that human
Yeah,
problem.
but if you wanted energy from them, you should have just dumped all of those meat pockets into an incinerator, used the energy out of that incineration, burned it.
But they're
and
trying not to kill them.
So that's what I mean is
That's
that
why I'm saying Asimov's laws.
They
Like,
want to
if
keep them
robots
alive.
aren't allowed to
'cause
kill.
That's their logical way of working with them.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want to throw away my PlayStation 2. I just want to keep it in the closet forever.
So,
Well, why didn't they just do what they did
I
on
feel the
Futurama and build the near Death Star?
Wait. But humans aren't a viable battery if you look at their heat. But what just like
Also
brain
bad.
waves?
Also
is
bad.
A bad idea.
Also bad.
okay.
It's a movie.
Hold on.
It's a movie.
Kitty, I'm lost. It's a movie. I'm about to back you up. So
You
I'm
are
about to
allowed
back you
to
up
love
here.
stupid shit. I also love stupid shit.
So-
I was the one who was telling that Donnie Mnemonic is a good movie. It's a
It's a
bad
great movie.
So, humans, not a good thermodynamic heat source as far as we know. So when you get into any kind of future,
Sci-fi.
no,
They-
it's true. As soon as
they
you
know
start
something.
bending
I
the
like
laws-
to imagine
Look
that
at Roz
the
just
robots
not
are
putting up
using
with
the
that shit.
same tech that the
Raz
that
just
the
not having it.
but what about if they're like the Monsters Inc. people?
Okay.
Oh, no,
Dude, you're gonna-
Monsters Inc. is not cyberpunk.
I'm trying to back you up, man.
You're like, my point is falling apart, so I'll go to Monsters Inc.
No, but Monsters Inc. They made you laugh and they made you cry and they took a bunch of everything from it.
So,
But if the robots are the
I'll
same
build
thing-
on this. I'll build on this.
Right.
So if you have people suspended, you have a way of keeping a human body in stasis with, like, in that
Why do they
pod.
need to use them for energy? Why don't they?
And so if within that pod, when they're in the pink little goo pod,
Sure.
if they can be sustained and that's not causing you any additional resources, that just somehow sustains like the physical body.
Somehow, sure. Big-
Sure.
big
we
thing.
don't know. Are you an advanced robot that we created an AI for the
Maybe.
future? I'm not.
Anyone is.
If anyone
definitely
here is a
wrong.
robot, yeah, an advanced robot from the future, it's probably Roz.
Definitely
Maybe
wrong.
they figured out a way that costs them. Actually, that's another thing. Is value is completely established by want. So if the thing that it takes to keep the humans alive isn't anything that's necessary for the robots to keep alive, then they won't value it. So keeping the humans alive with whatever nutrients there is, they don't give a fuck.
And they just feed the humans to the other dead humans. They feed the dead humans to the humans.
because they're not going to care because they're not really there. Yeah. But like,
Okay,
if
I'm
you
still
can,
waiting. Go on.
So if the Matrix,
Still waiting for the point?
if you can stimulate the human condition to create situations where you have an increased heart rate and you can fluctuate
We
the
saw him
amount
doing
of,
that with the
of-
pokey poke
of
and the sideways
output.
human.
Yeah, sexy ladies in red dresses.
Yeah,
Sideways
but the amount of output that like
Yeah, they had
that
the dude split down the middle.
the body is actually throwing.
The calories it takes to feed them still exceeds the amount of energy you produce.
That has to happen because of laws of.
It's just
Conservation
basic
energy.
laws of thermodynamics. So
But
the-
whatever calories they're getting, I mean, we don't know that they're not feeding them. Even the ones that get out of the Matrix are eating paste. Like they're not eating turkey dinners. They're sitting there just like.
The energy required to just keep a body alive exceeds the energy it's capable of. Almost.
So, okay, so positing, and by the way, I think The Matrix is far overrated. I just am really enjoying this argument.
I agree.
You're on the same side. Like, we're over here like, yo, let's go watch The Matrix.
This guy's calling on scream energy. Like, come on, man. Don't worry, monsters.
And laugh energy.
I just think that by the time
It's
we
the
get
power
to the
of
point, by the time the human society gets to the point where we can create an artificial intelligence advanced enough to enslave us, then maybe we have created some sort of nutrient-dense, self-replicating material.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing.
3,000 calories in a raisin.
I love you guys so much. It's not about the energy required to produce the nutrients. It's about the energy in those nutrients that then goes to a human. So the energy in,
Yeah,
and
I'm
then
saying
the human has to stay alive. Their heart still has to beat even very slowly. The actual neurotransmitters need to be released.
But maybe we've created, do you like Star Trek?
Yes.
Do you call bullshit on replicators?
Yes. I literally tweeted the other day, who am I to get mad at you about your made-up science? Literal tweet on my feed.
So why are you picking this fight with this made-up
How
science?
many gigawatts
Because
is a
she's in it
gigawatt?
for the fight. It's about the fight. We're all here for the fight.
I know, it's
Let's
true.
stop pretending.
Okay.
Listen, can we actually have a Matrix episode? Because I will,
Yeah.
Yes,
needs to happen.
we will. We'll do it, and we'll do it somewhere around the time whenever the release of Matrix 4 is happening. And I will
How
come
many,
year.
how many
It's
charts
next year.
and graphs can I
next
bring?
year.
December next year.
Am I allowed to bring data? Like graphs?
Like from
charts?
No,
Star
no
Trek?
facts. You can't bring facts to this.
Yes. No. Yes.
No,
Yes.
no,
Okay.
okay.
Facts too.
fact
Bring
free.
The Matrix is
Listen,
dope.
as long as I know that a giggle produces 89 gigawatts, according to,
Gigawatts?
Can I make
Gigawatts? What? Gigawatts?
Gigawatts. It's a gigawatt.
Gigawatts?
21 gigawatts. Okay, we'll do it. I promise you we'll do a Matrix episode. I'll rewatch the entire trilogy.
Okay.
But
I'll
we
watch
can
the
fill in
Animatrix,
gaps with just movie
and I'm
logic.
gonna tear the fuck out of those movies.
Listen, I'll bring it. Bring it.
I mean, I'm not saying that there weren't amazing parts of The Matrix. The Matrix has a lot going for it.
Yeah, I
And
know
it
Kung
did-
Fu.
That
I
highway
think,
chase.
especially for
No. Anyway.
But
No, we gotta save it.
Trinity.
We gotta save it.
Trinity was probably the reason that most of us were like, maybe I'm not just straight. You know, like there's a lot of us who watched that movie and we're like, okay, you know what? I have some questions for myself to talk about later. It's fine.
No,
Now you're
Trinity
thinking
didn't
about
get me
her, and
anything
you're like,
into
yeah.
dudes. Okay, so we are way over time. And I'm going to thank you guys for all joining us,
you.
and thank you guys for joining us. And I look forward to reading the chat and seeing what you were all talking shit about, because I do that, just so you know. I do that.
Hint at
And
happening?
next week we've got oh god, I should have written that down. I normally do.
Well,
Forgot
it's
to.
still
But
hazy.
oh, what you were talking about? Okay, so next week there's a maybe thing happening. Alain, who you've been watching for the last hour, might be doing a 24-hour marathon of Cyberpunk 2077, which we'll be streaming on Twitch, and we'll probably be living on our A Filthy Lot Gaming YouTube channel, which exists. There's nothing there yet, but it exists. You can subscribe to that too. But before you do that, subscribe to this one. Anyway.
I'm here, please.
Also, there's a really cool video coming out next week called House Wraps? Wrap House? What are we going with?
Pick one. Have fun.
Murdoch Paints.
Wraps and Houses.
Murdoch Paints.
Wrap House. What?
Murdoch Paints.
Murdoch Paints is coming out next week, and I should have written down everything that was coming out. Anyway, join us next week on Filthy Talk Friday. Till then, stay filthy.